white. Just like I teach him how to ride a bike, how to put his clothes on, how to brush his teeth. I'm also how to read. You need to learn how to trade. Whether you choose this as a career path or not, you're going to learn you're going to know what it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Black Girl Option podcast. My name is Kayla Salem, and I'm your host. With each and every episode of the Black Girl Option podcast, you all will be listening to me learn and discover new lessons on my path to being a consistently profitable trader. So thank you all for tuning in and enjoy the show. Oh, hey, Cazel, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
I want to thank you for coming on the Black Girl Option podcast. We're growing and we're just trying to make sure that we as Black women are seen in the sort of trading, investing, stock market world. That's my mission. That's my goal. So I'm really happy that you have decided to come on the show and talk with me.
Well, I appreciate that. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. And I think you're right. We need to have more of a presence, even on, television. You don't see anybody of African American or Black women, regardless of whether you're African American or not, talking about finance as much as you see others, and particularly men in general. So this is really nice. I hope I hope your podcast grow, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. So thank you.
Yeah. My main thing was because when I was first learning, like this was last year when I first started learning about trading, I was reading all these books and like watching YouTube videos, and I never saw anyone that looked like me. Like literally, they're 99% of them are men, and then the other like 90% are white men, which I'm not hating on it, but it just would be nice to be represented in high regard in this field. So that's why I really, really like you. I know we met through a mutual trader, and I know you're heavy involved in the clubhouse scene. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it kind of surprises me how well that club is doing. So the name of the club is Trade All Day, and how it came to be is like everybody who starts to trade, you don't really know where to start, right? So you just start following YouTube people, or starting on your own, reading books. Just, it's no clear path to how to become a trader. So we all find our way somehow. And I'm sure we'll get into how I became a trader. But when I got on Clubhouse, I was shocked. I was like, wow, there are traders. I don't know how much you know about that medium, but it's a bunch of rooms and people of like mind start to come together. And there was stock people, traders, and I was like, oh my God, I found someone, because trading is like a lonely business, right? You trade by yourself. And so I was so happy to see traders, but when I went in their rooms, I was like, oh God, they really don't know what they're talking about. Not everyone, I'm not grudging anyone, but the rooms that I went in early on, I was like, yeah, they just started trading, and now they want to teach people to trade. And I was like, I was like, let me start my own room where I thought it would be like 2-3 of us and talk about trading and not necessarily looking to sell classes or anything like that. And so I started the club, and people came. Honestly, the first day I think I was there by myself, and I was like, oh, this is a stupid idea. And then I was like, well, I'll give it a week. And that's been since I think January, and we have like over 8,000 or about 8,000 members. So I'm excited.
Wow. But before we get into even more interview, I'm sorry, I need to talk to you about, tell me a little bit about yourself before we start talking about the trading. So like, where are you from? What do you like? Things like that.
So I am a native New Yorker. I love being from New York, but I live in Virginia now. So, But yeah, so I grew up in New York, kind of public school person, went to college, at Virginia State, and then got a master's degree. And so my
Mm-hmm.
background really is technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoy technology from the fundamental part of it, like being a programmer and leading IT organizations. But I'm not a consumer of technology. Like, I don't use it very much. I guess because I'm behind the scenes, I don't want to do it when I'm off.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's my background. But as far as trading, I've always been interested in two things growing up. Um, Trading, not so much trading, really just finance, like
Mm-hmm.
investing and
Mm-hmm.
golf. So those were my two things, like golf and investing. And I knew no one in either of those fields.
Mm.
And but I knew how to get a job. That's, so I was trained to get a job, got a job, and
Mm-hmm.
within my career field, I met people who were doing both golfers, and so I started pursuing golf and became an avid golfer, and then ran into people, particularly during the .com era, who were investing, and that's how I got into investing.
Mm.
It started from investing to trading. Yeah.
And what year was
So,
this?
the late, you see, now you're gonna date me, but
Oh
it was
no! Oh no!
it's okay, it's okay. It was. I'm sure you can tell I got a mature voice. So let's just put it that way. But the late '90s, the mid to late '90s is when the .com, the Amazon, all of those things came. Microsoft was booming. It was just so many things in that was growing that you could invest your money, and
Mm-hmm.
I started investing my money like other kids, my people my age, and
Mm-hmm.
then um so we were making money hands over fist because it was just a boom era. And then it crashed, right? It crashed might be too strong of a word, but the bubble burst and I lost my money. So let me just start by saying, when I
Mm-hmm.
was doing the investing, I would call a broker
Mm-hmm.
who would put my money in wherever I told him or make some suggestions where
Oh
to
my
put the money.
gosh.
Right. And so it was growing, it was doing wonderful. But the broker I initially had, he passed away. He was a young African American guy. And
Wow.
he passed away, and they gave me this other guy, Scott. I don't remember his last name, so I wanted to call it, but I know his first name was Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And the market, the boom, everything was going down. And he was telling me to move my money here and there. He just kept telling me to move my money. And I was getting a little annoyed because back then, well, probably the same, but when you have a broker, you have to pay a broker's fee. So every time
Mm-hmm.
they move your money, you have to pay a fee.
Yeah.
And so I was like, look, I'm losing money and I'm paying you all these fees. What is going on? And by the end of our relationship, I literally had no money.
Oh my
None.
gosh.
So that's how I got into trading. I was like, if I'm going to lose money, I could lose it myself. I'm not going to pay you, and then you're going to lose it on top of it. So that's
Exactly.
how it went from investing to trading.
And so you started trading around the late 90s, early 2000s?
So I would say I dabbled in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I started like putting my money in different stocks. And so I wouldn't say I was trading then, but
Mm-hmm.
I call myself investing. So I put my
Okay.
money in different companies that I liked, and some would do well, some wouldn't do well,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. And then how I got into trading, I get asked this question all the time, but I can't really say how it happened. I really don't remember how it happened, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I just started trading, and I was in trading rooms, and um, just like we started out early, I was like the only woman in there. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see them. It was more like a podcast. Like, I don't see them. I
Yeah.
just hear them. And
Yeah.
it was mostly, I could tell from the voices, mostly white men,
Mm-hmm.
which again, not begrudging them, but that's who was in the room.
Yeah.
And I was like, then I didn't understand a word they were saying. I was like, what are they talking about? They're talking so fast. But after a while you get it. And so I feel like I'm rambling. I'm just going to leave it there. So that's kind of a little bit of my background.
I did have a question while you were talking. How was it? Because I've kind of grown up in the technology world where like literally I can just trade, I can invest all from my phone. I can be anywhere doing anything and I
Mm-hmm.
can buy shares and buy stocks. How was that? How was it different from the or late 90s, early 2000s than what it is now in terms of, because you said you had to call your broker. Like I've never ever called my broker ever. I wouldn't even know who to call. So how was that? How was it different and how did you transition to online and technology?
So I think the technology was there in the late 90s. I just was unaware of it because I was investing, I wasn't trading. So I don't know what it was like during that time for
Mm-hmm.
trading. But for investing,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I had to, I probably sent him a check. I don't even know if
Oh my
he
gosh.
checking at that time. I don't know. I don't think we even had, I don't know. I think I literally wrote a check to him and sent it.
Oh
And
my
so I had
gosh.
to, yes, then you wait for your check to clear. And then um, you initially, I was buying Microsoft because a lot, I'm in technology. So a lot of my friends were working for Microsoft and they were like, there were 20, 30-year olds retiring at this time from Microsoft, right? And so they were like, put your money in Microsoft, put your money in Microsoft. So I would mail my money off, put it in Microsoft, and
Mail it?
then, yes, I mailed the check. That's
Uh,
I think I mailed the check. I think I probably could find that check, because once it clears, they send it back to you. But so every time I needed to get him money, I think I used to mail it off. So,
wow.
and I don't even think I ever mailed anything recently, but yeah, it was weird. And then I would tell him where to put it, or he would call me and say, and so like he didn't hear. This is the Scott guy, not the first guy. The first guy was
Hmm.
awesome. He would call me and say, hey, we're gonna do this, do that, and
Hmm.
that's how it grew because he would manage it, right?
Hmm.
Whereas Scott would, I don't know what the heck he was doing, but he um he would call me if he hasn't heard from me in a while and says, hey, I suggest you move your money here. And I would do it, right? Because this is his job. So I think he knows what he's talking about. And then the freaking stock would go down. And I was like, what are you doing? And like I said, he got paid whether the stock did well or not. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so I wasn't using technology. And I don't think I ever logged on. Not to say that that technology wasn't available. It's just I was doing a million and one things. But he would mail me a statement, like, and then I would read my statement and see how my money was doing. So it
Hmm.
wasn't like I logged in
Hmm.
and checked up on it. I'm sure that feature may have existed, but
Hmm.
I wasn't using it. I was just waiting for them to mail me my statements. And then that's how I would know, like, wait, what? The last statement was X, now it's minus X. So I'm like, what's going on here? But that's how it was.
Wow, that just seems like such a foreign concept to me. Like I can't even fathom waiting for my statement to come in to see where my portfolio is at. That
Yeah,
that
that
would
was
give me
that was
anxiety. Like I would be like, "Oh my gosh, like how are things doing? Am I doing good? Am I doing bad?" Like and then you gotta wait. Oh my gosh, I couldn't
I
even.
was look, okay, I was talking to a friend of mine
Hmm.
recently, and he was telling me, I think each generation, because the generation after you are going to be like, I can't believe you guys sat there on computers all day to do this. I don't know what their technology is going to be. But he used to have to wait until the paper came out. So you couldn't see what they were trading, the stock was trading at. It was published in the paper the next day, and then you would make a trade. I don't know how they make trades. Probably the same way.
Oh
The,
my
the,
gosh.
yes, I tell them I kind of remember that where it was published in the paper. You had to wait till the Wall Street Journal came out, and then you see IBM is trading at $70. Then you're like, okay, well, I think it's gonna go up. And then he would wait till the next paper day, like the next day, to see where it went. I was like, oh my god, that's so
Uh,
crazy.
so scalping didn't exist back then, I'm assuming.
I truly got it.
Okay, so you go from investing and then you go into trading. How long did it take you to become profitable? And what strategies did you go through in order to become profitable?
So it took me roughly 2.5 years of losing before I became profitable. So it was a long, arduous, painful time.
Mm-hmm.
And how it evolved was when I got serious about trading, I would go into these trading rooms. And like I said, it would be a bunch of guys who knew what they were talking about, right? And they would say, just hang in there, you'll get it, you'll get it, you'll get it. And I didn't know what they were doing. So I was like, well, let me take a class.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would take classes from people, but um, I didn't know. Sometimes I didn't know what they were talking about. They really didn't know what they were talking about. And I find myself losing money just trying to learn how to trade, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I got frustrated. So that was the first year, just trying to find my way, my footing, right? Just trying to get my legs under me. But I was losing money a couple of ways. I was losing money taking classes from people who didn't know how to teach, or I didn't understand,
Mm-hmm.
or who really had no intentions of teaching you anything. They, you know what I mean? They
They
just
wanted
kind
your
of just,
money.
yeah, they were pretty much scamming. And then, so I went from that to, okay, getting pissed off and going, and then I was back in the trading rooms, and then trying to take trades people were calling out, and I was losing money because by the time they called the trade, the move is, it was all these things going on. The move had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until I just took responsibility for my trading and I said, you know what? I'm not going to listen to anybody. I got enough information now. I'm going to back test. I'm going to find a strategy that works for me. Take a little bit of what I learned um, from some of the people that I've heard, took classes from. And once I made up my mind that I was going to really get serious about trading, I began to take responsibility for getting in and out of a trade myself by using strategies that I see. Now, I use what's called market generated information. So I don't read candlesticks. I used to, but it didn't
Mm.
work for me. So I use what's called market generated information. And on Thinkorswim, it's called monkey bars. And it looks at what is happening within the day, like how people are behaving. And you would, based on certain behaviors, you would get in and out of a trade. And so that resonated with me. And I still was losing money, but I found my sea legs. Like I found something that I at least worked in my brain, right? Like
It
I
made
can
sense
relate
to you,
to.
yeah.
Yeah. And it took me another year and a half to perfect it enough that I could turn trades into winning trades. And so it was an evolution, like you like you just said. I didn't have anybody to go to, right? I couldn't pick up the phone and call anybody, so I had to find my way. And I think it took me that long because I didn't have anybody. Now we have Clubhouse, we have you, we have a lot of people, particularly of color, talking about it, and that you can reach out to them and ask questions and mentor you. Whereas I didn't have that, and so I'm
Yeah.
happy that it's a lot of people out there willing to help.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I tell people who send me messages and they're like trying to find their place in trading. And I tell them you
Hmm.
have to tailor it to your personality because what works for someone else might not work for you. And so you can, and even like with signals, I remember, and I tell this story all the time to people. I was reading this book. It's called Market Wizards, and it's basically a series of interviews about from different traders. And one of the guys was saying how he was taking signals from another trader, and this guy would always make money. The guy he was taking the signals from, he would always make money, but he taking the signals from this guy, he would lose money, and he couldn't figure out why is this guy making money on a trade and I'm losing money on the same exact trade? It's because that trading style, that trading strategy, it's not tailored to your personality. You don't understand it. It's not tailored to your personality, so it's not going to be beneficial to you. You have to find a trading style that fits your personality. And I try to emphasize that to people because it's going to change everything for them. So would you agree with that?
You know, there's only 2% of people who trade are profitable traders. I read the Market Wizard series as well. So kudos for you
I
for,
love that book.
kind of educating yourself. But what you're going to find, and I think talking to any successful trader, is that you don't change who you are to to be successful in the market. You take who you are and make it work for you in the market. And that is what happened to me as well. It's like a couple of personality traits that I have. I am a thinker, right? I like to think about a whole lot of stuff. If you're in the room with scalpers, you don't have a whole lot of time to be pontificating. Am I going to take this trade or not take this trade? You just need to take the trade. Okay, that doesn't match my style. Then I'm in rooms where guys talking about, oh, we're not marrying this trade. We're just dating. Okay, that's not who I am at the core. I don't see my trades as women to be violated one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
So what I am is a spiritual person. I'm deliberate, right? I like to think what I'm doing, about what I'm doing, and I don't like to move too fast, right? And so the market generated concept works for me because I get in a trade every day at 11:30 because I'm a routine person, right? So 11:30, I always buy at the money. So I know these are things that as a trader fit my personality. I don't like to, look at a bunch of new stocks. I have my watch list. I don't deviate from my watch list. So I simplify everything in my trading to match who I am. And so at the end of the day, if the trade didn't work, it's probably only a few things. One, I misread something, or two, I broke the rules that I've set for myself, and that's usually what it is. I fear FOMO. I've been trading all these years. It's just occasionally it happens, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm busy. I'm trying to do the laundry because I'm at home. I'm trying to do the laundry and trade. Okay, don't do that. You're not supposed to do that, right? So I come to the trading field right now as a job. And what I think people fail to realize is that if you're serious about trading, even if it's part-time, you have to treat it like you would treat a part-time job or a full-time job. You have to be that disciplined. And people come to the market trying to make money and not trying to respect the discipline and the things you need to do in order to be a successful trader. So, so I don't know how I got on that part, but
I love it. I love it. So we both know that when you're trading, you have to be cognizant and aware of your emotions and your own psychology. And I'm a big, I call myself a trading psychology advocate because I feel like it's the most important thing people need to work on before they even get profitable. So how did you develop your own trading psychology regimen? How do you keep your emotions in check when you're trading?
So I don't think you can keep your emotion in check when you're trading. And I think that's where people go awry, right? Because we're emotional beings. We express emotion in everything that we do. So why would you not come to the market and expect to exhibit some emotions? However, what happens in trading is people are reckless with their emotion. And what I mean by this is in
Mm.
my club I talk about there are three type of capitals that you need to protect and bring to the market and protect. Your first is your financial capital, right? You gotta
Mm-hmm.
have money and you don't want to lose money, so you want to protect that capital,
Mm-hmm.
right? The other is intellectual capital. You need to know, you got to learn, you need to know what you're doing when you come to the market, and you need to constantly increase your capital into intellectual capital, like you're doing, reading books, studying, back testing. The
Mm.
third is emotional capital. You need to protect your emotional capital like you do any of the other two capitals. For example, you got in a trade that you didn't see a setup for, but you felt like it was going to go up, right? It went against you. Guess what? Not only did you lose, you didn't use intellectual capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
You lost financial capital and
Mm-hmm.
you've lost emotional capital
Mm.
because that tears you down. You know this. If you keep losing a trade, it plays a psychological game against you. So you have to protect that emotional capital just like you do any other capital. Now, once you write your strategy down, you write everybody should have a trading strategy, right? A trading journal, trading plan, and a trading strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stick to it and don't use emotional capital unnecessarily. So in the club, someone was in a winning trade,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, look, just about to hit resistance. You've been winning for 3 days straight. He had an option contract that he bought on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's Wednesday. It's about to approach resistance. Actually, I think it broke through resistance and came back in. And I was like, you need to get out of this trade. And he was like, oh, my option doesn't expire until Friday. I'm going to hold it. I feel like it's going to go up. Okay. Your feelings has nothing to do with the market, right? You need to
Mm.
have a strategy.
Hope.
So, yes, right?
Hope is a
Hope is
dream
another
killer in
thing.
trading.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, but if I were you, I would get out, right? So he held on. The next day, it gapped down on him. Now he shorted it, he did all of this stuff and got out of the trade. And he was like, I didn't lose money because on the way down, I bought a put and I did this. And I'm like, but how much emotional capital did you expend
Mm.
trying to save a winning trade? You just wasted emotional capital. That's stressful, right?
Mm.
Why would you do that?
And it's
Why would you?
valuable.
Yes, you have to have control of yourself. People don't see trading as a job, right? And I see it as if you went to a job, you would not go to work and start a fight early in the morning. You wouldn't do it, right?
No.
So why would you come to the market and fight yourself? It's stupid, right?
I've never heard it like that, but that's exactly right.
People be tripping. I was like, you got one of the things you didn't ask, but I'm going to offer some advice for new traders.
Please.
New trading is entrepreneurial. You're working for yourself. Any job you have will give you policies and procedures of what they expect of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're going to tell you what these are the rules of this company. You come in on time, this is your desk, yada yada yada, right? Then the procedures are whatever the job functions you have is going to tell you exactly this is how we want you to perform in this job, right? And then they give you performance standards, either you did or you didn't do it, and based on that, that's how you're going to get compensated. The same thing with the market. You're working for yourself. You need to develop your policies, your own policies and procedures. They're called journals, they're called
Mm-hmm.
strategies, or whatever you want to call them, and hold true to those. And ask yourself at the end of a trading day, would you hire yourself? And if not, what did you do wrong? And so I hope people come to the market. Particularly, most people are working full time, which is great,
Mm-hmm.
and trading part time. Treat it like a part time job. They still give you policies and procedures. that you have to follow, and they give you a performance plan, performance feedback. And do that and ask yourself, would you hire yourself? And if the answer is no, then go back and fix whatever it is that you are failing at.
Did you have a mentor that helped guide you to this wisdom in trading, or this is just something that you just had to do through trial and error?
Life was my mentor. Losing on the market. The market is a mirror, right? So if you come to the market thinking that you're going to take from her, she's going to go, oh no, no, then it's a fight, right? Just like I think the market is um, a, a reflection of life, of who you are. I really do. So if
I agree.
you are an aggressive person who comes in the room talking first, not listening, you get a reaction from people. People, tolerate you, but they're not really invested in you. And you want to know why, people don't like you. Well, that's what, if you come to the market the same way, it's like, I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm going to take your money. You and I are going to have a adversary relationship. But if you are respectful of people, you hear what other people have to say, you listen, you interact. I feel the same way about the market. Learn the market, understand what she's trying to tell you, and she will reward you accordingly. And so I feel if you're failing in the market, it's telling you something about yourself that needs to be corrected,
addressed.
And yes, now there are people who are extremely aggressive, right? Just I've been in rooms where guys, I wouldn't sit down and have a drink with them, but they're extremely successful, and that is because they know who they are and they make it work for them. So if you don't know who you are and you come to the market, she's going to tell you who you are.
She's going to tell
and
you.
So if you don't know you're a loudmouth coming in the room and being rude, the market's going to tell you, your vibe is off.
And if you lazy, she going to tell you lazy.
You lazy, exactly. But if you are aggressive and loudmouth and you know this is who you are, you're probably going to trade that way and you're going to find success. Back to your point of, bring who you are to the market and make it work for you, and not try to make the market bend to your will, because it ain't going to work.
I agree. Snaps fingers. So for people who are just getting into the stock market, specifically trading, what avenues of education would you suggest? Like, would you suggest books, courses? What would you suggest?
So I feel at this point in the game, everything you need is offered to you for free, right? But you don't know what you don't know. So you wind up watching, and there are quality people on YouTube. Quality people. I would love to call names, but I don't really know them. Right? Okay. I just, even I will watch a few videos here and there. I'm like, okay, you know what I'm talking about. Or he helped me, right? Or she, or whatever. So I think there are quality people on YouTube. When you come to the market, I don't think you should. It's overwhelming. It's really overwhelming. And so I think you should come to the market trying everything, like before you put money in it, but learning as much as you can from different people, because there are a lot of terminology that you can learn. Justopedia is probably the best when it comes to market terminology. So you would want to learn a terminology. You would want to look at support and resistance. I'm just going to throw a sample out there. Start with looking at support and resistance and listening to everybody you can explain support and resistance. Somebody's going to explain it to you in a way that makes sense to you. That's probably the person you might want to spend a little time watching their videos to see if, what they're saying resonate with you and they can help you. So I think that, and then you start to narrow, you need to figure out what kind of trader you are. So some people don't even know. I didn't know either. So It's not a criticism. You just don't know that there's different types of trader, right? You just think I'm going to go make money on the market, but there are different ways to make money on the market. So I would encourage people to understand the different types of traders, swing traders, intraday pattern traders, chartists, technical traders, fundamental traders. Figure out the different types of traders and which one resonate with you. And once you think you've exhausted everything, you paper trade to the best of your ability, then and only then I think you should pay somebody. Because if you feel like you're still not being successful, then I think you're smart enough to realize who sounds reasonable versus who doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hear people in on Clubhouse. It's comical. It's comical that it's sad. People are running
Mm-hmm.
all over everywhere. Oh, just give me $20. I'll teach you a class. And I'm thinking, really, really, if they're only charging $20, it's probably you can probably get the information for free, or
Exactly.
or they're setting you up for a bigger kill. It just frustrates me so much that people who say they're great traders charge so much, and um, they don't really trade a lot. Some people don't really trade. They make their money off of training, which is fine, but just say that. Don't pretend. So I would really hesitate. I think the people who tend to be very showy, like I just made $75,000 today. Those are the type of people I'll be like, just just find somebody who just wants to teach you how to
It's
trade.
it's the biggest that's the worst aspect of like the trading social media section. Like when you go to trading Twitter, when you go to trading Instagram, it's just full of people. And I just did an episode about that, about discords actually, where I talk about my stories and Discord trading chats, and how I was in this one trading chat where obviously the guy that was running it was still learning trading as well, but he was charging people a monthly fee. And then he completely like ghosted. Like he didn't even like, I would like message him and he wouldn't respond at all, but he was still
Yes,
collecting that
see,
monthly check. And I'm just like, oh man, like it's bad. It's really bad. That's why I'm
see,
big. I feel like mentorship is better. Like having that one-on-one person that you can sit and just ask all kinds of questions to, and you don't have to worry about all these other people or them trying to work with other people. I think mentorship one-on-one is really helpful for trading, but you
I
have to find the right
I think
mentor.
so. You do have to find the right mentor, and it's not like it's a book. Now that you think about this, it's an opportunity. I was going to say maybe it's not a book that you can call up and say, "Hey, help me with this." It's still like the Wild Wild West, even though it's been around
Mm-hmm.
centuries, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
still the Wild Wild West in the trading world, and so you don't know who to trust. Everybody's just people want to be successful, but those who survive quickly realize when people are scamming them and really, like I said, take responsibility themselves. And then you know, it says the teacher will appear when the student's ready. When people are ready and really serious,
Mm.
you'll notice the right people start coming into your life. And so I say, do your own homework, and then you will start to somehow, I don't know, the universe has a way of working these things out. The right person, the right situation is going to come along and help you. In my club, one of the things I only have one rule, and that's no solicitation for this
Mm-hmm.
very reason. I just
Mm-hmm.
want people to feel like they have a safe place to ask a question about trading. And there are great people in my room that do offer trading, but you will eventually gravitate to the right person. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? They don't
Yes.
have to hit you up because you're going to hit them up and go, you know what, I really like the way you do X, Y, and Z. And then that's how you can find a mentor. Um, but
Mm.
that's one way. But yeah, it's no solicitation because I don't want people to feel like, um, I got to pay for it. I make my money
Yeah.
trading. I make my money trading. I don't need to take it from you.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't need to hustle you. And so we need safe places to ask simple questions like, okay, should I get out now? Like,
Yeah.
why, this is turned against me. What did I do wrong? You don't have to pay. I feel like there's so much in this trading marketing world. that we don't have to take from each other. There's so many opportunities to be successful on the market itself.
I really like that. I never thought about that. Just especially because I just started Clubhouse. Like I'm not.
Oh wow.
Okay, so I just came to Clubhouse a week ago, and so I'm just now getting involved in that whole trading sector. But I really like the idea of you listening to different experienced traders and whoever you resonate with personally and their strategy, or you find that your personality matches their personality, that you could then reach out to them for one-on-one mentoring before you ever give people any money. I really like that idea, actually. Instead of just finding
Yeah.
someone and like, okay, I want to learn from them. I know nothing about them. I know nothing about their trading style, but I'm going to give them $1,500 because I want to learn trading from them. But then you realize your trading strategy and their trading strategies don't align. So now you've spent $1,500 on something that you could have spent elsewhere. I actually really
You
like
could have
that.
been trading. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so one of the things that irks me when I was, learning how to trade was exactly what you said. I don't know these people, but they got nice websites, they got nice Instagram pages. So
Mm,
I'm like, okay, you seem legit. And then I get in there, I'm like, what the hell? You don't. Not only do you not know how to trade, you don't know how to teach, right? So
yeah, that's another
but I
thing.
can't get my money back, right? I can't get my money back. So I feel like, and even on Clubhouse, don't get me wrong, people still be reading stuff that other people publish, right, and sound intelligent, and then they want people to pay them. My thing is, show me you know how to trade. Call out your trade during a trading day. Prove to me by, talking out loud that you know what you're talking about, and then feel like you reach out to people. That's my thing. So that's what the room is
Mm,
about. It's like, hey, I'm about to enter this trade. Um, this is why I entered this trade. This is my target. This is why it's my target. I'm in, I'm out. And, throughout the day, we talk about different things like psychology, you know, don't swing for the fences. And you're not, you don't go to work every day trying to be a hero every day. Some days
hmm
you just got to do what you got to do and leave. But when you're trading, everybody want this is the big one. I'm going to turn $1,000 into $1,000,000. No, turn $1,000 into 200. Add $200 to it. Add
Yeah.
$500 to it. Don't try to swing for the fences. But being in that chat room, in the chat room with traders, you kind of hear it repeated over and over
hmm
again, and so it's just I feel like that's I think that's a good way of doing it. And I'm not trying to. I, I really want people to feel like they have a safe space, and you don't find
Yeah.
that too often.
Yes, I agree. I really like that. I think that's the future of trading education. I really do. So, do you find yourself talking about trading with your friends and your families, or do you keep it to yourself?
I try. Most people want to just give me money to trade for them, and I don't trade for people. I'm like,
hmm Nope.
because some people just about the money, I want to
hmm
make money, and
Go play the
so
lottery if you want to make money.
yeah. So, but I have a little one, right? So I have a 12-year-old. He's not so little anymore. And because I'm the parent, he doesn't have a choice. So a lot of my friends who trade say, oh, I try to get my kids into trading. They're not into it. And so my little one said the same thing to me. He was about 10. He was like, that's not my thing. Math's not my thing. And I'm like, okay, somehow you thought that was a question. I'm telling you, you will learn how to trade. And that's what I think is missing in the trading world in our culture is that we feel like, especially people with kids who trade, I feel like just like I teach him how to ride a bike, how to put his clothes on, how to brush his teeth, I'm also how to read. You need to learn how to trade. Whether you choose this as a career path or not, you're going to learn how to, you're going to know what it is. And you're going to
Yeah.
learn how it is because it'll become second nature to him, right? He can make a choice If you don't want to brush your teeth as an adult, that's your choice. You know what the consequences
But
are,
under
right?
my house, you
So,
brushing your teeth.
but under my house, you would brush your teeth. That's the way trading is in my house. You can choose later on. You don't want to do nothing in finance, but you're gonna understand what the market is and what a sector is, what an industry is, and that's another thing that people drive me crazy. People come to the market and they don't know the basic stuff and think you're going to be successful. That's why I say the market's going to give you what you give it. If you don't know what a sector is, an industry is, an indice is, there are things you should know. You don't, it may not, you don't have to know it to be, that's the thing. You don't have to know it, but it helps when you know. But anyway, so yeah, in my house, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to have to learn this. This is just like anything else. Because when he's a teenager, I'm not gonna have that liberty to say you're gonna eat your spinach or something like that. But now you gotta eat it, and that's how we do it with trading. It's like you will know how to you will understand finance.
Yeah. What do
Around the
you
market involved.
what do you think keeps ordinary people from getting into the market to start investing or trading? Do you think it's because they have to learn a lot and they just don't want to learn, or it's just something they're not interested in? Like what keeps ordinary people from getting into the market?
So
Or maybe I
you
should say
see
staying in the market.
staying in.
Staying in the market, like because a lot of people will get into it, but they don't stay.
Okay. Why do people get in and get out? Well, one, because they don't want to face the truth. It's a job. It's work. You gotta put work in,
Hmm.
and some people just don't want to do that. Like you've lost all your money, and you're like, I'm not gonna go back in, um, but you didn't put the work in, right?
Hmm.
You know, the market fired you, just like if you would have went someplace else. He's like, you're fired.
You're
Don't come
fired.
back, right? Yeah. But some people don't get in because they don't know. Like we talked about, there are people in their immediate circle who's in the market. So they just don't know. They just don't have the exposure. They don't have the awareness. Those
Hmm.
who get in the market may not have enough relationships, people around them that could help them um, in the market. And so they may find themselves um, just running out of capital learning, right? So they don't have the benefit. Well, things are changing now. I
Hmm.
think I'm talking about when I started. There's so many things now to help you get in the market. I think people get out because they're not willing to. The time for you to, um, the amount of time you put in the market, for me, I found to be extensive. I
Mm.
mean, extensive. Like
Yes.
yeah. I'm here, so I was home, so I had 8 hours a day to do it, right? So
Hmm.
I just started treating it like a job. I would get up, I would study, 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 study. Um, I would go to bed, papers all over the place with, you know, chart setup. It requires a lot of work. So I think people get out of the market because they're not willing to put in the work
Hmm.
that it takes to be successful.
I agree, especially when you have money attached to it and you feel like you're quote unquote you're losing money. So it's like I'm losing money, I'm just gonna stop. But the most wealthy people in this world, they have acquired their wealth through investing. It's not it's not a secret. Warren Buffett has told you it's not a secret on how to get wealthy. You have to invest. Trading's a little bit different, but you have to be able to put your money into something that's going to appreciate over time and
Exactly.
not depreciate.
Exactly.
And that takes time. It's not, most people, you know, they'll invest into something and then a month later they're like, oh my gosh, it's down. I lost money. I'm just going to take my money out. When if you just keep that stock in terms of investing, if you just keep those shares for the next decade, you're going to triple, quadruple your money. But it takes time. And people, I feel like, especially my generation, we want things like now. Like if it's not happening now, if it's not happening a week from now, it's not something that's worth putting our time and effort into. So I really want people to understand good things come to those who wait.
So in America, I feel our educational system, particularly the public educational system, prepares us to be consumers and workers, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna work to buy something, so you can work more to buy something bigger and better, right? And so we are producing. So we talk about your generation, the younger generation. They want this instantaneous thing. Okay, they didn't come out that way. They were born the same way their parents were, right? They
Mm-hmm.
came to the world the same way. It's what we feed them that causes them to respond that way. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you're being fed, I look at my little one, you know, he it's gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
His generation didn't create gaming. The generations before him created gaming, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so gaming causes one of the things is this instantaneous feedback, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, it's instantaneous feedback. So we fed you this. Now that you're responding to it, it's a criticism. I think we need to just look at our culture and say, what are we doing and why are we doing this? And so some of the very people who are wealthy, who create the tools and things that we use that have an adverse effect on us, we need to really think about it as a country. What is it that we want from the younger generation to help sustain a great America, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that is one thing I think is not so much the fault of the generation, but the fault of the generations that come before them. It's like, if we're sending people to college to be um, workers and consumers, then why are we mad that they're not investing? Or, how would they know to invest? That's not something that's being taught. And that goes back to my earlier statement, not giving my little one an option. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we have to, as a culture, as a country, um, have to make a decision that building wealth, is a priority, and
Mm.
it's not. It's a priority for a few. And and kudos to the few,
Mm-hmm.
but it's harming the rest of us, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
harming the masses. And there's enough wealth in this world to go around so that everyone could, have a meaningful life. But wealth seems to be about competition
Mm-hmm.
and not about sustaining, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm competing against you, I'm not going to tell you what's my edge to be successful. You
Yeah.
figure it out on your own. I think that's what our culture is. And so I don't I don't look at younger generations thinking they're not doing something. It's like, what did we do to cause them, or what did
Mm.
we not provide for them? And so
Mm.
what you're not being fed is how people are making it. Your generation, your parents, and people in your generation's parents are probably far more well off than their parents were. So you overcompensate by giving them so much. So what do you expect?
Mm.
What do you expect them to be? So, yeah, I don't blame the younger generation. In fact, many of you now are on the stock market where your parents weren't. A lot of young traders look at Reddit and like you said, things happening on the Discord. So there's a whole host of young people in the market who are, you guys do things so differently. Um, but I think your generation, well, I think you guys are better off than my generation when it comes to the market, because at least you are aware of it and you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have mastered it yet, but at least
Mm-hmm.
you're there.
Mm-hmm. I do. Yeah, I do think in terms of building wealth, our generation has realized that it's not this secret society that only these
Mm-hmm.
people can do it and we're just left out. But we can do it too. If they can do it, we can do it. And I think that's kind of the mentality that, at least the people that I'm around, I think we've realized. And so I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. It's frustrating being an executive in the workforce, because it's like, where you going? I need you to stay here for 50 years. And you're like, oh, I'm moving on. I don't
Yeah.
have time for this, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm a
you
trader.
guys
I'm a trader. I'm an investor. I don't have to
yeah,
be here.
exactly. Like, what the heck? What do you mean you're a trader? What do you mean you're getting in an RV and a tiny house and going across country? I need you in the office, right? And so I just think the mentality, and I love it. I think the mentality is so different. And the other thing is, I think, I don't have any empirical data to back up what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
other than just people around me. It seems like young people, younger people, your generation are finding wealth to me more than just financial wealth. Like it seems like you value your freedom and
Mm.
your happiness
Mm-hmm.
more than generations before you. You're fine. Like okay, well if I can't make $100,000 today, I'll just chill on the beach and be
Yeah.
happy, right? So you're finding joy, which I think is important in different things. And for those of you who are trading and finding joy in trading, one of the things I think your generation does far better than any other is you share the information, right?
Mm.
So Reddit is a group of like-minded people sharing information. So you're more apt to share, but at the same time, you're more exposed to scams. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is you guys share your information. You don't keep GameStop would have never happened had your
Had
generation not been willing to share and be a collective versus my generation. I'm in the house by myself,
mm-hmm.
trying to trade. I don't know anybody my age at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So so kudos to you guys. I think you guys are light years ahead of a lot of other people.
Yeah, social media, it has some perks, you know.
Oh, look at your podcast.
Yeah.
I've been trading all this time. I never thought. I was like, dang, this sister girl got it going on. I never thought get a podcast and ask questions and learn. I mean, you guys are so entrepreneurial. I mean, you're learning, but not, you're sharing your growth with
Mm-hmm.
anybody who wants to listen. And so
Mm-hmm.
the and you talked about the personality. Think about what you're doing and how you're helping so many more people get exposure to it. So you guys bring a lot to your generation into the market that others have not, and you do it so selflessly. I don't know if I said that right, but you're
Yeah.
not selfish about it.
Yeah.
So you guys. I mean, you still got to hone your skills, but at
Yeah.
least you're doing it as a collective.
Yeah. Okay, so lastly, I want to talk about the future. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now in terms of your trading?
Probably same place I am now. I really think,
Consistency.
yeah, I really think that I've honed who I am as a trader. Um, and people will go, why, people who know me well, why don't you put more money into your trades? You can make so much more money. And I goes, because it's not about the money. It's a job for me. It it provides for a means, right? So if I start increasing how much money I put in the market, it just intensify the emotional capital I was talking to you about,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just everything isn't about making more money in the market. It's about being consistent,
Mm.
increasing my win rate, um, just being comfortable in the market. Making sure that people like you have access to people like me,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that you aren't being taken in the market, that you know everything that's available to you in the market, and that you guys have somebody to talk to. That's what I love about it, because the more I talk to people like you, it just kind of reinforces my behaviors in the market. So I don't really see myself, anywhere other than where I am now. Just trading, being consistent, and enjoying the fruits of my labor in other aspects of my life. I put so much time into learning how to trade, that I'm not willing, or I have no desire to put that much time into it. I just will add a book or something like that just to stay abreast. But I'm not your age, right? So I'm not really trying to put that kind of work into it. I just want to help the next generation.
I agree. Consistency is the big. It's the most important thing in trading is staying consistent. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I learned so much. I know people that will listen to this, they're going to DM me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I love that episode." And I'll have to send them to you to make sure they follow you on Clubhouse so they can learn more. But I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of people in your audience who are listening. And I just want to say, again, the market is a reflection of you. So whatever you bring to the market, it's going to return, right? And in full. So if you work hard, protect your intellectual capital, protect your financial capital, protect your emotional capital. This is treat it like it's an entrepreneur, like your own business, and it would return will far exceed your expectation. And just believe in yourself and don't be fearful. You guys, you got so much going for you that a lot of people didn't have access to, and it's a great way to make a living.
Alrighty. All right, everyone, that's a wrap for this episode of the BlackGirlOption podcast. I hope you gained some insight and learned something new. Don't forget that episodes drop every first and third Monday of each month. So please hit the follow button and follow me on Instagram at BlackGirlOption. See you all on the next episode.